Hey, this is Val Selby, and after over 20 years online, I can track where my mindset has blocked me. If procrastination, imposter syndrome, and a lack of focus have been blocking your biz, then Val Full Volume is here to help you see choices you are making. Get ready to use your expertise to collaborate like a pro as you create the business of your dreams. Now is the time to make changes and live your best life. Let's get to it. Hello, hello, hello. I know you don't get to hear these immediately since we have a process of putting them up, but oh my gosh, this is my first recording of the new year. I know you've already heard some, but it feels weird. In a good way, but it feels weird. I'm still trying to bring my brain back to, okay, what am I supposed to be doing again? And I have my systems in place. I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, but still, my brain is just like, are we sure we're supposed to do this? Shouldn't we be planning? Aren't the kids coming back over? When are the kids coming back over? Blah, blah, blah. So we had an amazing Christmas weekend. If you're an empty nester, you understand this wholeheartedly. We had all of the kids here. So both of our kids and then my daughter's super long time significant other, who we absolutely adore. And they stayed the night. We watched movies. We all stayed up late. Hubby and I went to bed early one night and they could just stay up, and this house is set up for that. And it was so wonderful. Makes a mama heart so happy to have a sleepover and have everybody here. And that reminder of why I want to do this, of why I want my business, of why I want my own hours. Just that real big reminder of the fact that I want more of this. I want to create trips where all of us can go together and hang out and all of the ands. And so, of course, we're all working on our goals and figuring out exactly what we want for 2024 and beyond and how we're going to get there. And this is always a time where I bring in some new clients. Everybody's looking for that push because last year maybe they didn't push themselves. And I get that. I absolutely get that. I am actually open to finding my next coach because as a coach, I value coaching. Absolutely. But I know I can't be looking for a coach. I've done that before. When I've looked for a coach, I've wasted a lot of money. And I'm not going to do that anymore. So last year, even though I was really hoping a coach would come into my sphere, they didn't. And guess what? I had to push myself. I had to use all of my tools myself. What? But it's leading me to working with a new client, and I know she'll be listening, and she knows I love her. And we went into this new relationship. We've been friends, so we went into this new relationship with 100% transparency of how it's going to be, and there's going to be some tough love. And I'm going to bring some, I don't know if it'll be tough love. Maybe for some of you, it might be tough love, but it's a truth bomb. I'm coming in with a truth bomb. And you know what? Let's see. This is coming out. I want to say this is probably coming out in the middle of January, towards the end of January, as I look at the calendar. So you might really be needing to hear this right now because as we're 3 or 4 weeks into the year, what's dropping? So the truth bomb, I was typing back and forth with her and I had a gem fly out of my fingers. So we're going to talk about that today because it's for you and for me. This is also for me. Most everything I talk about is probably for me first, or I went through it already. So I'm passionate passing on what I have learned. That's how my coaching rolls. I pay it on forward. So the gem that flew out of my fingers, there is no such thing as finding your motivation. You choose to create action. And I don't know why it was coming out, but as soon as typed it out, I went, oh my God, that is a gem for myself, as well as for so many people I know, but definitely for myself. This is something I have learned. Oh gosh, I have recognized it, I'm sure, in the last 6 months, 6 to 8 months, somewhere in there, easily within the last year. But really, so much change happened after May, in May and after that I'm going to say since then. And motivation. So let me talk about motivation. Yes to motivation. We love motivation. But as I'm talking about it right now, in this whole concept of motivation, I'm calling bullshit for all of us that are waiting for the motivation to get shit done. And that is because we're literally waiting. It's, I don't want to today. The I don't want us are there quite a bit because there might be something new that you have to do. There might be something big that's out of your comfort zone that you're like, oh, I don't want to. There could just be a day that you're not feeling good. That happens a lot. Emotionally, you could be having a lot of stuff going on. That happens. And it's going to continue to happen. And when we sit here and wait for our mojo to hit before we start working, we're never going to get anything done. And how do I know this? Because I spent a lot of time, a lot of years, possibly most of a decade waiting for my motivation to hit. I figured there was something wrong with me. All of these successful people, oh my God, look at how much they get done. Look at all of their motivation. They've got mojo everywhere. They get so much done. Oh, wow. How do they do that? I don't have that. That's why I need more motivation. It's because of this. It's because of that. It's because I'm sick. It's because I have a chronic disease. It's because, oh, today's a bad asthma allergy day. Oh, the kids needed a lot of extra help today. Whatever excuse I was throwing at it, I have thrown every one in there, and they are all legit excuses for why I don't have the motivation. There is and always will be a million things pulling our attention and energy, especially as women. It's just the way it is. It's the way it's going to be. It's not going to change. And waiting for it to change means we're just waiting. Just waiting. Because when it changes, there's going to be something else that will pop in its place. So waiting until we have motivation, waiting until the right moment is a crock of shit. And it's what we tell ourselves. It's the comfort. Let's call it. It's probably the comfy blanket. It's that comfy blanket telling us, oh, it's okay. It's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. It's not okay when you have goals. And it's not okay when you want to hit those goals. It's okay to have bad days. We do. We all have bad days. It's okay to have bad hours. Maybe we were productive in the morning, but we weren't productive in the afternoon because, you know what? I don't even need to have an excuse. I'm giving myself that excuse anymore. It's like, yeah, no, emotionally, mentally, whatever we're going to label it. I just went, no, I needed a break. But the point is, when's the productive time? Do you want your goals? Because you have to want your goals more than you give a shit about the motivation. Motivation is that thing right now. And in this term, there is a such thing as motivation, right? There absolutely is. You can get motivation right now of me going, blah, here's the coach in me. I like the sports coach in me. Rah, rah, rah. I absolutely can get motivation from that. But how long is it going to last, right? I'm talking about our brain and us telling ourselves that we will do things when we're more motivated, when we have more energy, when our energy is high. Again, yes to all of those things, because when my energy is high, I produce like a mofo. Yes, we love that. We want that. But when we don't have it, we have to pay attention. We have to pay attention that we have to choose to take action. Now, I've talked to quite a few people lately, and especially since we were doing the 90-day plans, and we just started the membership meeting weekly, which is amazing. So happy to be meeting weekly again with members. But we're talking about, and I think I just lost my train of thought because I went, oh, I love meeting with the members again. And my brain went, what are we talking about? Oh, it really did. Breathe. I got to bring it back. Welcome, if you're new to the podcast, to Val's Squirrels. So I guess we're just going to find a new train of thought until that one comes back. So for the motivation, waiting until we find our motivation is a lie. It's a lie we tell ourselves. We have to take a look at what are our goals and how much do we want them. And then we have to take a look at what can we do right now to get towards that goal. What one step can I take right now towards that goal? And the real celebration happens when you really don't want to, but you know you need to, and you want that goal so bad. And you're like, okay, making a deal with myself. I'm going to do this one thing. I'm going to do this one money task that could potentially go work towards my goal, right? Just that one thing. And it's going to be hard because you don't want to. Whatever's going on, you just don't want to. You're like, a million and four reasons why I don't want to right now. But the difference between successful people and hitting your goals and staying where you might be feeling unsuccessful, I'm not saying that you are unsuccessful, but you might be feeling that way, is who did the shit when they didn't want to. Those are the people, and I want you to be one of them. Those are the people, we are the people that are hitting our goals. Because it's when you are waiting for motivation and you don't do anything, your business just sits. And if you're waiting for motivation for too long, it doesn't just sit, it goes downhill. It falls downhill. And what happens when your goals are like going further and further and further away? You're going to get less motivated. I'm going to get less motivated because now everything that I had been working it towards, now I have to start back farther, right? Like one step forward, three steps back concept. Yeah. So even on those days when you're not feeling motivated, if you can grab one money task and choose to take action, you have to take action. Every day that you set as a work day, and I do not recommend 7-day work days. I really don't even recommend 6-day work days. Of course, depending on what you're working around, you might have to, but you're going to have to really push yourself if you're working around another job and your business. Then you really have to push yourself. You really have to figure out why you're doing this. You really have to want it because you're working double time, right? That's tough. That's really tough. But you have to choose to create action every day in your business, every work day. I'm going to call them work days. Every work day in your business. You have to create the action, whether you feel motivated or not. There's no one else responsible for your business. I don't care if you have a coach, a VA, anything. And believe me, this is definitely coming from my experience of the last 6 months, whatever it was. There was a lot going on, and I relied so heavily on my VA. And I'm so thankful that I had him. And I know you're listening to this, Justine. So thankful for him. But I had to remember that it wasn't his responsibility for my business. He helps me a lot. He helps me through my business, but it's not his responsibility to take full control of my business, right? It's mine. I have to do the money tasks. I have to create action. I have to be present. which meant I had to pull out of the unmotivated times that I legit was unmotivated and put my big girl panties on and decide, okay, well, I want my goals. I want my goals for this reason, this reason, this reason, this reason. So much the reason I started this podcast with today of spending more time with family and when it's convenient to work around them because they work 9 to 5 type jobs. They're not 9 to 5, but they work for other people at this time. So I love having the flexibility of figuring out when I can help work around what their work schedules are because it's easier for me to do. And I love that. But that only can happen if I am moving forward in my business, if I am working towards my goals, if I'm hitting my goals. And the only way to do that is with action. Waiting for the motivation to happen is a pipe dream. The more you wait for your motivation, the more it goes away. Because now you're looking for this magical unicorn that doesn't exist. Because the more you look for it, the more unrealistic the concept is. You're like, oh, when I get more motivated. Well, what does that mean? Dissect it. If you're telling yourself, when I get more motivation, I will do such and such. Okay, well, what does more motivation mean then to you? Is it like for the last few weeks, I have had this sinus crap that nobody could figure out how to help me get rid of. I've had that for weeks. I've been absolutely drained of energy. And I could have sat there and said, well, I'll get those emails written when my sinus stuff is done. When I get the motivation. And that to me meant when the sinus stuff is gone, when this is over, when this is better. And like I said, it's always going to be, well, but then there's something else. It's just the easy scapegoat. There's always something. There is always something that we can look at and say, oh, I don't have the motivation because of this. And you're only telling yourself this. Nobody else really cares. It's just what you're telling yourself. And that's a little bit of the tough love right there. Nobody else cares. And I don't mean that in a negative way. They're just worried about their own stuff. So they don't really care about what your excuses are because they've got their own excuses going for why they're not doing their stuff, right? That's what we do. We're human. That's what we all do. So when you feel like you've got to get that motivation and you're not doing stuff because you're not motivated yet, and you're telling yourself and you hear that in your head, sit down and go, okay, well, what does that mean? What does when I find my motivation mean? Is it because right now you're sick? Okay, so what can you do to not get sick or to get better? How can you get better? If you're dragging it on because you're not taking care of yourself, start taking care of yourself. If you have had it for weeks and weeks and weeks like I had, and I looked at it and I'm like, okay, well, this is like my new reality. So what am I going to do about it? What if this never goes away? I'm just going to have to work through it. I'm going to have sinus, ick, and cough and all of this for the rest of my life. Now what? Okay, so then I had to get over it. I had no energy, right? But I had to pay attention and go, okay, I have low energy. This is when I have high energy. And okay, go time for that hour or 2 hours or whatever. I have 30 minutes. I don't care. Go time. I have to push through. So take a look. What are you telling yourself? When you got the I don't want us, what are you telling yourself? It could be something that is a legit reason of why you're not doing it. And you could tell yourself that if you want to. Or you can choose to create action. Even just one little thing towards your money goals, towards building your business, towards moving your business forward. If you do one thing when you don't want to, that's when you'll usually see big gains. Because you really didn't want to. And yet you did. So when you hit that point, I hope you hear my voice a little bit. And I also hope you hear this. When you do choose to do that action and you were unmotivated and you didn't want to, and the I don't want us were hitting hard and you do it anyways, I'm so proud of you. I celebrate with you. I hope you hear that. I hope you hear that when you decide to do it. Tell yourself how proud you are, but I am proud of you. When you do that, when you create action, it is amazing when that happens. It gives me goosebumps. It gives me goosebumps when I do it. It gives me goosebumps when I see anybody else doing it. Instead of us waiting until the right time and we have energy and all of that garbage we tell ourselves. Okay, so I want you to create action. That means I have to get you out of the podcast right now so you can go create action. I hope that you take this to heart, that you pay attention as your motivation from, the end of the year goals and all the excitement. It starts to drain a little bit as the reality of doing the work sets in. I hope that you get a little re-energized. And like I said, pay attention. Just pay attention. Nobody can push your business forward like you. You've got this. You could do it. All right. I'll talk to you next week.